Nice to see you all. Everybody's right on time. I don't know if everybody's ready. Cool. Let's see. Should we just go ahead, or are we waiting?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. As you know, I just got off an airplane. Have to make sure I am mostly put together. Okay. Hi. Thank you all for being here. As you know, I'm Congresswoman Chellie Pingree, represent the 1st District of Maine, and am so sorry that this is the first day of a government shutdown, and we all wish we weren't in this particular position. Most of you know exactly what happens during a government shutdown. That's occurred before. People, of course, continue to get their Social Security checks. Medicare and Medicaid operate. Veterans benefits are all available. Any other retiree benefits. Military personnel go to work, and a variety of federal personnel go to work at the discretion of the federal government. So we are still waiting on some of their provisions of who will be furloughed and who will be considered essential, and we'll continue to follow that. Here at the airport, of course, we have TSA agents, and also the air traffic controllers are federal employees, and we appreciate the work that they do very much. They will all work without a paycheck until the federal government is restored. From my perspective, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. So when you are in the majority party, you have the ability to open or close the government, or to come to the table and make an agreement with the minority party and make sure that we don't go into a shutdown. So this is their shutdown. We normally would be in Washington until the last hour, usually voting or debating until the last hour, sometimes into the middle of the night, only shutting down the government for an hour or two. This is the most unusual shutdown I have experienced during my time in government. We were told last week by the majority party, those of us in the House, that we didn't need to return. So we were planning to be on our schedule. Our schedule had us in Washington on Monday and Tuesday, and they told us don't bother, which is very unusual when you're trying to negotiate up until the final hour. The Democrats in the House did go to Washington. We were there throughout the shutdown, had our last caucus this morning, or throughout the negotiation phase. We had our last caucus this morning, and most members will be going home tonight because of the Jewish holiday, and then don't know if we'll go back on Friday or what will happen next. Again, I said it's the most unusual shutdown. We've been presented with a continuing resolution. Those are the devices that we use to keep the government open, and that's offered us 7 weeks to negotiate. And from our side, we're saying, hey, we have been in Congress, in the most unusual Congress ever. We have been negotiating all 12 of the appropriations bills. I've spent 92 hours in markups into the late hours of the night attempting to negotiate. But as we know, this is an administration that does things very differently. For these 9 months, they've had numerous illegal and unconstitutional cuts for everything from medical research to school meals to law enforcement. So it is not like a normal negotiating process. They are asking us to start with a continuing resolution that basically includes all of their cuts and goes from a very different baseline than we normally do, which would have been whatever the last administration and the last Congress passed. So our goal is to protect everyone's health care during this fight, to restore the cuts related to health care, and to make sure that they don't break their promises going into the future, so that whatever we're finally able to agree on in a continuing resolution or in our appropriations bill, they fund. As we know, we've been faced by numerous impoundments and rescissions, and these are fancy DC accounting words that basically say the appropriations process, which is bipartisan, involves the House and the Senate, requiring us to come to agreement. Even though we've gone through that process, the executive branch, which is required to carry out the wishes of the Congress, has unconstitutionally just said, well, we're going to spend whatever money we feel like, and we're going to take away whatever money we feel like. So we've asked them to put the provision in this bill, as we did in the March CR, that says they will spend whatever money Congress appropriates. So as you know, we've focused quite a bit on the Affordable Care Act. Luckily, I don't have a baggage and baggage claim, so I can just go on. We've been focusing on the healthcare portion of this bill, and particularly the Affordable Care Act, because we see that as an emergency right at our doorstep. So the enhanced premiums, the enhanced premium tax credits will expire in December, but the fact is that many people have already gotten a notice about the cuts to their health care, potential cuts to their health care, starting October 1st, which is today. Insurance companies will be sending out these notices about how your insurance policy costs may change. And as of November 1st, all of those people who purchase their insurance through the exchange have to go on the exchange and choose a new plan. On December 31st, those cuts expire. But just to give you a little bit of a sense of what we already know, if you're a couple that's 60 years old, you're making $80,000 a year, but you buy your insurance on the exchange, your insurance premiums are likely to go up $17,000. A family of four making $125,000, their premiums are likely to go up $7,700. I've heard from numerous constituents in my district and many more by the day, and I'm sure as they start to get their notices, we'll hear from them in huge numbers. But many of them are telling us they're seeing potential 2 to 3 time increase in their cuts. Some people have said to me, I'm sorry, that's not the cuts, but in the growth in their insurance costs. Some people have said to me, my insurance costs are likely to increase more than my monthly mortgage. One woman said to me, I know my costs will go up $100 per month, but that $100 is more than I can bear. So at all different income levels, we are hearing from people who are saying, I won't be able to afford what my insurance will cost with increased healthcare costs and the lack of renewal of these premium tax credits. So that gives you a little sense of what we're looking at. We're also saying to them, restore the cuts, because as you know, during the big, what I call the big ugly bill, they cut about $1 trillion out of Medicaid. So those numbers are huge as well, will have an enormous impact on Maine that will have to pick up the costs. And the biggest impact, besides what will happen directly to the consumers, will be to Maine hospitals. And we've already seen the Waterville closure recently. We have other hospitals that have closed or closed part of their facilities, but they will really be impacted by these Medicaid cuts. They've been meeting with us routinely, asking if there's any way we can get those cuts rescinded. There have also been cuts throughout the year to research at the National Institutes of Health on everything from childhood cancer to all the diseases that we care about and want to make sure continue to have research done, to the CDC, to public health. So we're looking at these things going out into the future and saying, wow, this is pretty much every part of our healthcare system is about to be impacted. And while the consumer may not feel it today, it is our job in Congress to fund and to budget going into the future. And we can see that by December 31st, people are going to be in a heap of trouble. We'll have many more people who drop health insurance than ever before, and that will impact all of us. There is not a person who will not feel the increased costs of health insurance, because even though it's fully paid for through your job, those costs are going to go up as people leave the pool. And we've seen that happen before and know that will happen again. So we have a lot we're fighting for here. We're hoping that we get negotiations going again soon, because we are now officially in a shutdown, and we want to make sure that we get in this as soon as possible, that we do as little damage to those people, and we ask our federal workers to do as little work as possible without funding. So happy to take any questions, happy to answer anything you're interested in, or get you the information if I don't have it. Absolutely.
Representative Bowman and Senator King said the shutdown would give the president too much power. Is that a concern for you, and why was it still worth it to vote against the bill?
I think they're absolutely right. This is going to give the president too much power, but I just want to be fully clear. This president has taken that power for the last 9 months. So while they are saying to us, we're going to do a wholesale firing of even more federal employees, they have been firing federal employees since the first day after his inauguration. So from my perspective on the Appropriations Committee, we have seen devastating cuts every day. This is our only opportunity to push back and to say, you cannot exclude Congress when you are making these decisions. In any normal year, we would have consultations with the Appropriations Committee before there were reductions in force or these levels of cuts being made. None of that is happening now, and so we are saying we want you to come to the table and we want you to negotiate with us. So my belief is we have very little opportunity to push back and to say you have to come to the table, and this is one place where the majority party has the ability to negotiate with us and to do the right thing. there is a reason we have hundreds of lawsuits going against this administration, not from Congress, because we're in the minority party and we're not allowed to file lawsuits, but many were on amicus briefs, but they are coming from outside sectors, public employees, labor unions, advocacy groups, individual citizens who have been harmed by these cuts.
I mean, another argument is that these ACA premium tax credits don't expire till the end of the year, so why not keep government open and negotiate and get that in place before it?
Yeah, and that's been their argument. They said, we're going to give you 7 weeks to negotiate this, and you've got till December 31st. So number one, having been with them for 92 hours in the Appropriations Committee with lots of opportunities to negotiate, I haven't seen them do that in the first 9 months. I have no reason to trust them for the next 7 weeks. As one of my colleagues says, you know, I got a bridge I could sell you. I think that's a New York expression, but you know, we know what it means in Maine. And the other thing is, this isn't a normal CR. You know, Speaker Johnson has said, you voted for these clean CRs 13 times. But in fact, this CR incorporates the cuts that they have been illegally making this entire year. So it's not the same as what they've done before. The third thing is, you're right, the cuts don't expire until December 31st. But people have already been hearing from everyone from the Maine superintendent of insurance to their individual insurance companies saying, because of the anticipated loss of the premium ACA tax credits, we are going to raise your rates. So people will get notices of that in October, and they'll be making decisions in November about whether or not they will even keep their health insurance. They may decide in December to get out of the pool and not have insurance at all, which we've seen many people do in the past when the costs are just too high. So again, I would say it is the job of Congress to say, you know, we don't wait till the last minute. We know what's going to happen now. We've already seen this play out. One last little thing is that they forced a vote on the Big Ugly Bill based on the fact that the tax credits were the extended tax credits were going to expire on December 31st, and that didn't seem to concern them that they were doing that months in advance. They could have waited till we'd sorted out the rest of the budget to do that as well. Any other questions?